Well, welcome everybody. We're so glad to see you, feel you, be inspired by you, and join around our sacred fire of storytelling tonight because we are very excited. In fact, there was, I think it might have been Grandma Luisah, Yeye, that was talking about when the storytellers are coming, people in the village start dancing, saying, "The storytellers are coming, the storytellers are coming." Because that's what kind of good medicine they bring. And so I'm excited that tonight we've been able to offer this webinar, and we've had so many people that have registered to be with us. And I know that many of you might have also heard the mother's message that has gone out. If you haven't, you can go to our website at thefountain.earth and you can listen to her message, because the mother is telling us that she can no longer walk with these maladies that are in her and continue to be put into her, that she must take action. She must start to move in order to heal herself. And she's given us a time frame of how this is going to happen. She's given us the time frame that up until the summer solstice, she really needs us to be active in ourselves, in our communities. If we're listening to Mother Earth, respond to her and do what you can there where you live, first of all. If you can light up your own authenticity in a strong and bright way, that's going to be a response to, yes, Mother, I'm listening to you. We are also meeting with so many collaborating partners right now that are starting to bring the resources so that not only the Kagaba Nation, who caught this message from the mother and put it into motion through us, but also all of our original people globally, they're there. They know, they've been calling in and saying, yes, this is similar timeframes we are getting, and this is prophecy that we've walked with for generations, and with our creation stories since the original times. It is the moment we've all been preparing for, and now the prophecy is instructing us with what we need to do. And one of those sacred elements of healing that is being offered to you is storytelling. So we've put together a storytelling festival that's going to be in upper state New York near Albany. It's going to be at my spiritual daughter Bethany Yarrow's waterfall house. And there is 100-foot waterfall there that is alive with a very strong spirit that talks and shares and guides that entire valley. It's guardian to that valley. Many of our elders that have gone there have spoken about it and how ancient it is. All of this is waiting for you in upper state New York. And people have been saying to me, so Jyoti, what can I do to help during this time? Well, what you can do is you can come to this storytelling festival, because the stories bring coding. They sometimes are also shared in the original language, or parts of them are shared in an original language. And that language has a way of opening our memory of who we are so we can return to a way of life where all life is sacred, and start to walk with the mother law of this creation instead of man law. That we can start to work and unify ourselves in the respect of all life, instead of going and digging inside this mother and extracting from her and taking and consuming. That we've got to break out of these old colonized ways and patterns of materialism and move back to the heart of who we are and the heart of this Mother Earth. And so, Margine, if you would just show quickly just a moment about this storytelling festival in New York, because when you get off of this inspiring moment with the storytellers, and these are just some of our storytellers, we have many more. We have 8 that are going to be coming to New York and offering different ways of storytelling from their own countries. And so we're excited about that. Margine? Okay, I guess it's not ready, so we'll show it at the end. Well, let's show it. We can show it at the end. I just want to keep it. Oh, there it is. When you let go, it comes. So this is our storytelling festival, West Fulton, New York. This is the opening page, which when you go, and Marjean's going to put the link in the chat so that you can see. If you can't come to the storytelling festival, you can still donate or register, because we're going to have someone there that's going to be taking film of the storytellers. So if you can't come, you'll still get the medicine of this storytelling moment there. And I'm going to tell you another part of this story. And this is a little video where Luisah Teish, Grandma Luisah Teish, tells us why storytelling is so important in this moment of prophecy that we're standing in. So if you should go down to the program a little bit so they can see, these are some of the storytellers that are going to be there, some of which are on here tonight. And then you can also see the program itself. It's going to be full, very full. We're going to have a sacred fire, and we'll be there in the sacred territory of the Mohawk. And so they're going to be welcoming us in, and some of their youth are going to be participating in opening and welcoming us into territory, and also starting that sacred fire. And then after that, we will start into storytellers sharing from their own traditions, and we'll have music weaved in and out of everything. So if you just scroll down a little bit at a time, then people can get a glance at it, and you can go after the program and look deeper into it. And like I said, before you even think any further, this is a moment when we're trying to raise more funds for the Mother Earth delegation so that they can continue doing the work for healing this Mother Earth in their own homes and territories, and also to help them with global initiatives that they're all carrying. Thank you, Marjean. So before I go any further, the way that I know that we do things in my world over here is we always start with a holy prayer, so we can open this container in a way that honors the sacred that's about to flow through it. So I've asked my sister Loretta Afraid-A-Bear Cook, who's Oglala Sioux, and she's going to introduce herself more properly in a moment after the prayer when she shares her story. And then there's Randy Slaysback, and he is also Oglala Sioux. They're both going to open us with a prayer. Thank you so much.
Misa, go ahead.
Thank you, everybody that's in the audience listening to this special webinar, welcoming everybody. So with that, we're going to open up with the prayer. And after I'm done with the prayer, we have Loretta is going to come up right behind me with the prayer song, or a song that she chooses to. So with that, Oche Kemoji Wakahinte.
Hi.
Kashila, Atewa Kantanka. Hotatuia topa unchimaka unshia wahina jina hoyeche. Hoyeche le howana le uhina jipiki wichoye le olowa. Taku hechi tonkashila. Hokuta kia ahituina. Uchakchi washteo. Na unkichi washte po tonkashila. Na oyate wichonki ksapisa wongla kapicha. Honkaki japi. Na iotie kia umpi. Holina ishtamini hiu chakti pakitayo. Wichayush akichana. Wichayu blicha tunkashila. Oeche iokpia zania umpikte. Na le uminichewa uhiota kapike tunkashila. Unkichi washtepo. Oeche wichoye na olowana. Wichoya ki hinapkintelina tunkashila. Eta wokachnige. Na woabelis ichupikte tunkashila. Na trokate ke iwashte pikte. Iglogla pikte tunkashila. Cha unshiola po na unkichi washte po leampetuki. Ha hechetuelo mitakuyasi.
We och beatakia etuayo. Waku pakosa ahitua heyankelo. He ekta etuayo. Hena otaku yelo. He Wazia takia etuayo. Patranka oyate ahitua heyankeloyo he ekta etuayo hena otaku yelo he oe Wio patakia etuayo Sinte sapela ahitua heyankeloyo he ekta etuayo hena otaku yelo he ito kahatakia etuayo anukrasa ahitua heyankeloyo he ekta etuayo hena otaku yelo he oi Mahpiatakia etuayo ate wakatraka ahitua heyankeloyo he ekta etuayo he ate uyankeloyo he makatakia etuayo Uji anarukta heyankeloyo he ekta etuayo he ina uya peloyo he Tukashi lawama yangu ye Tukashi lawama yangu ye oh hey Tukashi lawama yangu ye oh hey oh Ikche wicha shata chanupa wa you ha ho ye wa ye lo yo hey Mitakuye o waniktacha heya yahoye waye lo he oi. Omitakuye oase.
Oh,
This evening, I called in all the spirits to dedicate this time of the evening. This is the night time. There are two entities that we observe, and in the time that we are here, we try to make time for everything in its place. You have to recognize that millisecond after midnight to a millisecond before 12 noon is your daytime, and a millisecond after 12 noon to a millisecond before midnight is your nighttime. So it is within these two time periods that we're able to do the things that we need to do. And we have to plan. So we're very cognizant of the time frame in which things are done. So I want to introduce you to myself. My name is Umpetu Lutawi. And what Umpetu Lutawi means is that I do my important sacred work in the time of the day. So a minute after midnight to 12 noon is a time when I prepare sacred food. I do make my prayers, whatever it is that I'm going to be doing in that circle of time. That's the time that I'm named for. I'm named for one of my grandmothers. Her name was Bessie Brings. And my grandmother, Bessie, she would talk to me. I was very, very rich in a time when I still had the old people that were from that ancient time that could still talk to me, and I could understand the transition of those words coming over the course of the years onto me. Today I'm 70, coming to my 77th year, and I can still hear my grandmothers talking and my grandfathers telling me about these things, this time period, the virtues, the laws, the protocols, the guiding principles of my people. For thousands of years, we've guided ourselves by that. And we were very, very cognizant of always telling the truth and being honest and having integrity to pass these words on. And so we're an oral traditional people. We didn't write things down. We had people, historians, that would relay from village to village and into our own communities, in our own Tioshpaye. We kept our stories alive. We told things that are of value to our people. We taught them about what you do in these seasons, what foods are located in your own immediate territory. You learn to steward your grandmother earth that provides all of life for us. You know what she has prepared for us in the places in which we are born and where we live. Those are our home territories. And we have to know how the waters, what the condition of the waters are, what the condition of the air is, how our children are being taken care of in that community. We've been, for all of our lives as Native people, we're communal, and we look out for one another. So if those of us have a little bit left over at the end of our day for something to offer and share, we're always willing to do that. So it is walking with those prayers every month of every part of this year. There are 13 moons that we honor. Our young women are revered and they're honored. They're like calendars, because they used to go out into the woods when they're on their sacred time, their moon time. They take them out away from the tribes so that they're so strong and so beautiful in their continents during this time. So they take them and they have a special place for them. They take them there. And within those 4 days, when they bring them back, our tribal officials knew it was time to do whatever we're going to do for that month. We have 28 days in between that time period from when those young women come back into the community. We know we have 28 days to do our work. So the amount of knowledge that our grandparents gave us, it was done with very deep and holy attitude and grace. And they never made us feel shame or anger about anything. We were honored. We were honored and we were revered as women. And we were also told that as women, the ceremonies came to us to provide guardianship, because to us, in our people's ways, the men are our gifts. The men are gifts to the women. And so we take care of them. We make sure that they have what they need. We make sure they're fed and cleaned up and taken care of so that they can go out and do their part, bring in the game, go and plant gardens, feed their people, keep things that are untoward away from the villages. So today we still operate in that fashion. And we still honor our Tioshpaye ways because we still have the beauty of the language. And our language it's a song. When we talk our language, it flows and it ebbs and it goes up and down and it's connected. It connects us with the air, it connects us with the land, with the water. Even when we go to put that water in, there's a connection for everything that we are as a people. And so we have to take care of that. And it's only in doing these things and being prepared can we say to the powers that be, when it's our turn to go over there to that next dimension, I want to be able to say to my ancestors, I did the best I knew how. I did the best that you taught me. And so that my whole life is working, being in service to the air, to the water, to the earth mother, and to each other. And those are our relations, all that fly in the air, all that are on the ground and in the ground, all that are in the water, and the two-legged. Those are the four relatives that I have. So I have to be mindful to be able to reach out and to share whatever it is that we have to take care of things, and to caution people if they're doing a bit too much of something, but never to be getting after people, or never to be speaking onward. Every day I wake up, first thing in the morning, I ask for Woki Chumpte, Creator, Wopre, let me have Woki Chumpte, so what I'm saying out of my mouth is going to benefit and be in service to the people. And I'm not going to say anything or get after people. I'm going to be there to help them. So with that, our whole lives should be that way. And I think if we look back toward our roots, where we come from, for my people, we're born on this continent. We're from this continent. And today, when we still act the same way, like I said, we have protocols, guiding principles, and we still follow those prayers. We start in the universe, the cosmology. We have words. We have words that designate those monsters, what they call monsters, but actually they were here before we were. And so when you look back as we were coming forward, everybody has had a moment in time where they got to be here on Earth Mother, and this is our time. And so what if we all put our minds together and we all loved each other and all forgave each other for the things that we felt were untoward done to each other, or we did to each other? And what if for that moment we say to each other, I love you, I want to be sure that you have what you need? What if we have that, really mean it from our heart? Because even there, they tell us, if you're going to give something from your heart, even your body is going to twinge if you don't really feel like it. It tells you, but here in your mind, you're saying, oh, I want to do this. But our old ones tell us, don't do it, because it's not going to carry the essence of that giving, that generosity of spirit. When you're going to give something to somebody, you give it with your whole heart, so that that essence is received by the one receiving it and the one giving it. If you don't do it that way, it becomes a burden both to you and to the one you're giving it to. So there's a way in which you teach your little ones. We ritualize our children, we ceremonialize them. We've only got to come back in the last 45 years, when the American Indian Religious Freedom Act became law back in our home territories here in the United States. So we've been sundancing for the last 35, 36 of those years. So only in the last 2 or 3 years have we done rites of passage for our children. We've ritualized and ceremonialized them so that they understand that they have responsibility, and that they understand that there's a time for ceremony, there's a time to laugh and have fun, there's a time to go to school, there's all of these things. It's all planned out already, and they're happy children. And so when you can begin to affect your communities that way, then we can reach out and affect across the world. We pray over there for those ones across the ocean that are in war, especially the little children. Those little children we call sacred little beings, and they're being killed and they're suffering. So even there, we have to have compassion, to pray for those ones that are mindlessly ordering that suffering on these little children, and so that they can have a softening of their heart, and that they can have compassion tomorrow morning when they wake up. We can manifest all these things. It's important that we put forward these stories, because these are our ways. It's our life experiences that we're living, that we're sharing with you. And so I want to say about that much, and I would like to leave it here. So if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much for your attention and for joining us, listening to all of us. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful time that we're spending with you. Thank you for spending your valuable, wonderful time with us. We'll
Well,
let you touch your faces in prayer.
oh, thank you, Sister Loretta. She's a little bit older than me, so she gets to be my older sister and tell me what to do. And I listen because we've been walking together going on 4 decades. So this kind of wisdom is something that's so needed for us right now. And thank you for receiving it the way that you have. This is a time when we want to give you some time. Maybe you've been inspired. Maybe you have a question that you'd like to ask Loretta about. If you do, you can just put it in the Q&A. I'm trying to watch the chats. I'm a granny too, so I'm trying to pay attention to more than one place here. Or you can raise your hand if you're part of our Zoom link here, and Marjean's going to help me watch out for you. Should you have any questions, we really want to hear from you. And if you are in the Zoom with here on our platform with us, I know we have over 500, Loretta, people that have signed up and are with us tonight. Isn't that amazing? It just warmed my heart. But if you're in this on the platform with us, I see there are around 79 of you here, then raise your hand. Marjean will try to keep a watch for you, and we can bring you up here. Or at least hear your question. Some of what they're saying over here, Grandmother Loretta, Shannon says your language is a song, each one of you an instrument in the symphony of humanity. Thank you, Loretta, for this new awareness. Lots of thank you. My heart is singing. Powerful medicine, Grandmother Loretta. Thank you so much for your generous gift. Gratitude, all love and blessings from Boston. We are doing work for women in our community and would love to hear more about the sanctity of the moon time. If you have something more to share, that might be the question. And we have a raised hand too. So you want to touch on the moon time?
I think that, like I said, our young women are revered as calendars. And they had a purposeful way to relay in a beautiful way when they would leave camp, and they had the women there who the aunties took care of these young women, and so while they're out there, they have specific ways in which they lay, in which they're taken care of. So there's aunties there that feed them and take care of them for those days. So it's a way of teaching how your body is as a woman and coming into your time, and before inception, before you have a marriage coming up, or you're getting to that place in time where you're going to be stepping into family way. So the young women, they watched them very carefully. They didn't they kept their pulse on them so that when they would go out, they took care of them. So it's a 4-day event. So those women who are in kindness and in cherish ways for these young women who are taking their time to be out there, they take care of them. And so it's the sisterhood or the aunties and the ones that tell you about life, the ones that chide you and make corrections with you when you step out of the way. There was always that element of auntyhood. That was our aunties are the ones that teach us about life. So they're called teasing and teaching aunties. Those are our brothers, sisters, our brothers, our brothers, our dad's brothers were our teaching and teasing uncles, and our mother's sisters were our mothers. And it's the uncle, my dad's sisters, that are my teasing and teaching aunties. That's where that comes in. And then my mother's brothers are my teasing and teaching uncles. So there again, the relationship changes so that somebody that is responsible to teach you about life. So my uncle was a hunter. So he went out, he taught us how to use a gun and how to get wild game and how to do those and how to clean it, how to cook it while you're out there, how to make fire, all of those kinds of things that I'm sure they share these things in camps today, but those were actually things that were taught to us as young women, as young men. So the I'm the oldest granddaughter on both sides of my family, both my mom and dad's side. So I was privileged to have access to all of this knowledge. And I'm so happy that I have it, because today in my Tioshpaye, Afraid of Bear American Horse Tioshpaye, we are ceremonializing our children. And so our little ones are now coming up to be big ones, and they're starting to teach each other and starting to do the prayers, laying down of the sacred food, making the sacred food, so I don't have to have such a hard time in my old age. It's really wonderful when you can see your little girls taking that responsibility and the little boys taking their responsibility. There's different ways of preparing their medicine bundles. It's all about preparing their medicine bundles, what they're going to carry for the rest of their lives. So the boys' side, the men, like Brother Randy is been our teacher for our young boys. And some of the things that have happened is that those boys got their eagle bone whistles, and we're working on getting them knives and their medicines and the eagle wing fan that's going to go into their medicine bundles, the things that they're going to use. Same thing with the girls. We do a program called Toss the Ball, and the young woman we teach them about being in charge of everything. They own the world. And so we teach these young ladies about the responsibility for taking care of Ujimaka, what this world that we're on. So we teach her about that with this ball. This ball becomes the world. And so she tosses it and brings it in to everybody in the four directions. And so it's engaging entire communities. So the young women have a very specific responsibility starting with that. And then they step into their young peoplehood, and then their womanhood, and then their elderhood. So all of those things, we're taking them by the years, age appropriate. We're teaching them as they understand what their responsibilities are. So it's an opportunity to teach them in a loving, kind way. Sometimes when you don't pay attention, when they need you and you don't pay attention, they grow up thinking that it's okay to do this and that, and it's not. There's a particular way you teach the young women and the young men, and you get the best possible teachers to teach these young people. When I tell our little grandsons, you follow your teacher, they follow Randy. Wherever Randy's going in that circle, that those little boys follow him. They listen to him when he talks to them. He tells them about life. So I'll
thank
say
you.
about
Thank you, sis. And that's going to lead us into Randy. So it's perfect. And we've got some questions that are coming up here. So if we've got a couple of people from Hawaii that want to come up. So when we're going to have our next moment after Randy with the audience. So please be patient with us. We really want to hear from you, and know too that if you ask a question and we don't get to your question, the way I know it, universe is listening. And there will come an answer to that question in the next time in front of you. So listen carefully. As the storytellers stir the medicine within. Randy, would you come and share with us one of your stories? I love listening to your stories.
Hello. Good to see each and every one of you, especially with the delegates sitting here sharing stories, songs, and words of encouragement, because we all need words of encouragement to help us. The words are what we call life and strength, and that's what keeps us motivated, and that's what keeps us moving forward, because the life that we live in is struggle. We always strive to make ourselves better every single day. And my name is Randy Laisbat. I come from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. I'm an Oglala Sioux tribal member, and I come from the Zuya Ishna Kioshpai, from Atewayaki, from my dad's side. That's where I come from, Lone War. And what brings me here is what I've been taught and how I was raised by my parents. Because I know that when you look back in history, Tiwahe families, Kioshpais, there's a gift bestowed upon them. And the gift that is bestowed upon this family is one to carry language, one to carry prayers, songs, or even stories. So that's why, which brings me here. I enjoy sitting down with older ones ever since the time I could remember when I look back in history. As a child, my mom and dad will always take us to these elders, and my dad will always say, come here, come here. And he always says forward, tells me directly, sit right here and listen. Anakop tayo. Anakop them. And we're going to tell you this only one time. The reason why they meant that was because they wanted the language and the stories to continue on. They wanted someone to hold on to these stories, because these stories meant a lot to our people, because it talks about not only the past, it talks about the present day, and it talks about the future. What changes can we make? How can we make this world a better place? Even not only the world, but yourself, your family, everybody that's around you. How can you reach out to these people and awareness? By educating them. As you educate them, you use stories as well. Stories that talk about the past that we bring forward. And as we bring forward to this day and this moment, and as we tell these stories, our ancestors who have gone before us lived through them. And as you tell a story, they're sitting right here amongst us, and they're listening. They're listening to how they were told to them when they were small. And a lot of these stories that was bestowed upon me. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to hear these stories. And every time I tell these stories, it brings joy and it brings sorrow, because the older ones are not here today. But at least I was bestowed with this, a gift that I could cherish and that I could pass on to the younger generation. And with me being a school teacher, I teach the language, the Lakota language. I teach Lakota culture, and I teach Lakota history as well to elementary students. And as I come into these school systems, various schools that I work with, I sit down with the kids and I encourage them. And as I encourage these kids, I talk to them about their language. I talk to them about their culture and their history, because it belongs to them. Everything belongs to them, the future generation. And they are our future. And how can we pass this on and empower these children so they can hold on to that language? They know their identity of who they are. Because the life that we live in today is struggles. And it's all about identity, not only identity, but crisis that goes around, not only around the country, but around the world. Once we know ourselves, we know who we are. And this is where now we pass that on to the next generation. How we connect with the Creator Tunkashila in our language, and how we connect with Mother Earth, the earth that we live on, and how we connect with what we call the four Hatuyatopa, the four winds. Everything that's around us, all the elements, with our language, we bring everything together. We close it in harmony, and we balance everything out. And through stories, we reach out in depth. We open it up a little bit more, and we dissect life itself. And this is how we teach life. Stories that are being passed on. Like one of the stories that are being passed on to me is, which I told several times here on this delegation. And to children at school level. It is a story about what we call the bear, a little bear, and the weasel, and how they came together. Even though they came from different species, they were not the same. But what you have to look at this story as it unfolds, it talks about the inner being, how one can unite two people. And as you unite two people together, it becomes one. And that's how the Creator wants us to be. You reach out to the inner being. And as you touch that inner being, this is where the healing starts. You heal that inner being. And as you heal that inner being, you planted a seed. And the seed will eventually grow. And this is how we connect with creation. So once you connect it with creation, every year when spring comes and rain comes down on the ground, you see flowers. Flowers come out. And as this flower comes out and as it blooms, the Creator teaches you and tells you that whoever we lost in the past and those generations that are coming, they're alive. You nurture them. You give them life through your prayers and through your belief. And this is how we connect with people using stories. That's why myself, I enjoy and I love telling stories, because this is one thing that I really love to do, sharing stories that are being passed on to me. Not only the story of the bear and the weasel, but you have like the ring that was bestowed upon Elderman, and how this ring was put upon his hand, that it came from the bone of a deer, because then you connect it to other stories, what we call the cottonwood tree, Wakacham, and how these trees hibernate during the wintertime and the leaves fall off. And why do they fall off? And how they bloom back up again. And as you tell these stories, and as it unfolds again, it teaches you the true meaning, what we are trying to accomplish, that bring people together. And how can we bring people together is being you. You always have to be yourself. You can't be no one. Being yourself is the only way you can reach out to people and talk to them. And you make that connection. As you connect with that person, you touch that person. And that's the only way that healing will start. And you can go side by side and move forward. Because no matter where everybody's at around the world, that prayer will always go just like that. In a millisecond, it'll reach that person and you'll touch that person. Because the Creator will always be there. Because the Creator is always in us. But we always search the Creator in different areas. And all that time, the Creator was inside us, but we always look for the Creator in different areas. We look for the Creator in buildings here, but the Creator always tells us, I'm always with you, inside you. And in order for them to understand, use your language. And as you use your language and you use the stories that were taught to you, those stories that meant something valuable, then you touch them. And as you touch them, the Creator is the one that's doing its job now. It's reaching out to the people and bringing all the people together. So with that, I enjoy coming here and sharing stories all the time. And like Jyoti said, and all the delegates that shared everything, that storytelling is coming up. And I would love to be there and talk about this story even more, the story of the bear and the weasel. Because the stories, once it starts, it takes about 45 to 1 hour, because it goes into details where you have to stop and explain it. You dissect it and you bring it back. And as you move forward again, that's the only way that you can have people understand. And using your language, as you use your language, then bring it back into English, vice versa. The story unfolds and you bring that understanding to the people. That's why I will enjoy And I love to come down to the storytelling festival and share that story with you, the story of the bear and the weasel and how it was passed on to me. Because I know a lot of these stories were passed on in various ways. How it was told, it depends on the storyteller. There are different versions because we come from families. We come from different extended families. And it tells about how the story changes, how the way of life was shared. And in order for us to fill that gap to present day, we use stories. Stories are the one that talk about the past. And once we bring it here and we tell it, well, you know who we are as Oglala, Lakota Oyate. And that's how we share our life with you. So you'll have a better understanding of who we are as Lakota Oyate. So with that, thank you, Wopila. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Randy. And that's what getting me excited, about the storytellers that are coming, because we're going to have fires set up after we finish our long day of storytelling, have a little dinner and take care of our tummies. Then some elders it's going to be a free flow moment where musicians and storytellers are going to gather around the fire, and we won't have to feel like we're pushing through this too quickly, because I know that must feel like that to you. It does to me. I want to hear that longer story. I want to hear the detail of it. I want to hear the mystery that's going to unlock something inside of me, the way you're telling it, so we can feel that unity once again. So thank you, Randy. I want to take a moment now that we had two of our Hawaiian folks that had raised their hand. And I wanted to see if we could bring them up here in this quick moment. We have to be mindful of our time because we have such a short period of time. We're giving you a taste, a divine taste, if you will. But maybe they're not around anymore.
They're here, Jyoti. I can see them. Kaliko Lehua Kana Ele is still waiting.
Okay. Margine, can you bring her up?
Yes, they're coming, but there is Susan Chana Kenley, who raised her hand a while ago, and she's in a panel, and maybe she have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Me?
Yes,
Okay.
Susan.
I didn't know I raised my hand, but I do have a question.
Okay.
So I come from tradition that doesn't have stories. I come from culture that doesn't have stories. And I've known for many years now that what I feel is critical piece for me to help with is to bring stories to children and to parents, but critically to children. I don't have stories. I don't know how to tell stories. I could go and learn stories, but I'm not sure I will have the full transmission within me just by learning something unless I work with it for months or years. So any guidance I can have to help bring storytelling into the parts of the culture that don't have it already there established, like within the nations that you come from. This is our worldwide group of children that need to have something to build themselves on. So any ideas from anyone?
So Susan, I'm going to let
Yes,
Randy
please.
respond to that if he can in a quick moment. But this is one of those questions that I want to sit for you to be at our fire in Upper State New York. Come there. Come following the story that prompted you to ask that question, so that you can really sit with your question and get many answers to come and gather around you. Randy, about quick moment.
Okay. And to briefly answer the question is how I started off my presentation and my talk, that many of us were bestowed with the gift with like storytelling. Because I know that storytelling takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy. And you have to love it. You have to enjoy it, being out in public, telling kids stories, because once you're a storyteller, you know that you are a storyteller. You'll know it by inside you, your heart, that you are a storyteller, because you will have that enjoyment, that love, that feeling that no one ever have. Because once that story comes out of you, you have to act out with it, because now you're dealing with children. You have to let that story come alive and let it walk and let it talk, let it breathe, and let these children draw the conclusion how they think it will end as well. They will be so excited, they will actually visualize how the story starts playing itself out. And that's one thing that I like to just pass that on to you. But I encourage you to listen to all Indigenous people, all the stories that were passed on, and how they shared their stories, and listen to them. Because when we tell our stories, once we tell it to whoever it is, we pass that story on to you, and the story belongs to you now. That's how we share our stories. So the story that you get, and once you retell it, always remember, because in our culture we said, we choya kelina wakha. These stories are sacred. And as you retell it, it's going to change. It's going to change with the audience, because you're reaching out to individuals, children, middle-aged, elders. So the story will change by itself, because it's the creator is the one that's working through you, helping the people to make that balance their life and live in harmony.
Thank you, Randy. So we just got about 1 minute, and I don't want that to feel the wrong way. So please excuse me. I mean, no disrespect, but I do want to honor the women that came from Hawaii.
Men. And there's it looks like Tuin Manua Alia Tapu'u Nui o Iva, Polynesian men.
Oh, wonderful to have you here with us.
Kia ora, aloha, how are you? I'm from a little tiny island called Inuamanu. It's mostly just about halfway down the equator in South Pacific Island nations. I'm a paramount chief in my own tikanga rights, and also a high priest that binds our people back together. When you talk about binding our people, it takes not only energy, the spiritual guidance that you have within the actual development of our sacredness within God Almighty, Yo Matuenui. He's given us a timeline to come together, a choice that you made in that selection when you were in the spiritual world. But now today we're trying to actually come together as one people. And I can see it's happening. I'm the one that actually pressed the button for the vibrations of the monami of your Pacifica, for the people, Ariki, chiefs, to realize that time is up. Come together. Not only the strife of governmental issues, that's not an issue. That's just a bypass of our timeline. What we're about to experience is a massive gathering of the people of Awakirunga, Awakiroa, which is you, North and South America, Awakipamama, which is South Africa, Awakiraro, which is New Zealand and Australia. And the voice is saying, the time is up. Karere te manu, itona tauranga, means it's coming back to laying path. I thank you, and I'd like to invite you guys to our ceremonial coming together. It's in June this year. I think Brother Kanahiri from Hawaii have that timeline. And the last treaty, peace treaty, will be signed in Australia. I think it's the first time I have the opportunity to talk to you, brothers and sisters. Does not matter with your white, black, blue. You're all the same in His wakaru, in God Almighty's DNA. It's correct. He is already in us. Just a matter of activating the respect between a koro wahine and a koro tane. Wahine is the output source of our whare, which is our house, and our livelihood, and everything that we do is from our women, our mamas, our tupunas. They are the forebearer of Mother Earth. They will always be on our shoulders, in our heart forever. Does not matter where you come from, because you have a role in this creation. We decide to come here, part of this creation. So I thank you, team, the Cookie tribe, sisters and brothers, for allowing us the Mona Nui Okiwa, Awaikinui, to speak.
Oh,
Kia manui, yo eo e tatou.
what an honor. Thank you so much. And if you could be sure to put a way for us to connect back with you, I would like to keep this connection going if that door is open.
Not a problem. The door has always been open. It's just us trying to get to one another.
Okay.
That's all right.
It's happening. The magic of storytelling has brought us this far. So if you could somehow, Margine, if in a private chat.
I have the connection through Uncle Kalika Lehua. I will connect.
Thank you, Lila. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you so very much. We feel very blessed with so much richness here tonight.
Yep.
Now, the next is you're going to hear from a beautiful one of our delegates. Her name is Elin Teilus. She's Sámi from Sweden, and she carries a sacred way of storytelling through what they call Yorking. She couldn't be with us because she's in Sweden, and so it's like in the middle of the night for her, but she prepared a video to introduce herself and to share Yorking. This is Elin.
This is a woman now. So when the main is
Boris, Mufnamal Elin Teilus. Hello everyone, my name is Elin Teilus, and I am of the indigenous people here in up far north in Scandinavia. We are the Sámi people, and what you just heard was a joik, which is the traditional way of singing of my people. And joiking is a way of telling stories. And when we joik something, we tell that person or that animal or that land or that memory, and that becomes alive with us. I remember my father, he told us a lot of stories when I was a kid. And I believe that that has helped me to preserve the way of dreaming and of imagining new worlds and ways of living, and also to remember the old ways of living, and then you can merge them into new stories. And the remembrance of who we are as humans for real, as we are connected to nature and as we are nature. There the stories can be such a beautiful way of remembering that. And we had the chance to come together and share that experience of stories together. And that is also unifying and so beautiful. And I am so happy to have been brought up with all these stories. And now I'm looking so much forward to come to you and to listen to stories that I have never heard before, and also to share my people's stories. And I also believe in these times that if we can come together and listen and share the stories, we can also empower one another in a beautiful way, where we can feel the real strength of life and the people who has gone before us, and unite that with the now and also the future for the generations to come. I am looking forward to share the stories and the joys of my people, so you will get to know the ways of the North, and to share the stories of the reindeers and the midnight sun and the northern lights and the snow, of course, and the lands of my people with the deep mires and the mighty mountains and the lakes and the cold wells. And I hope to bring a sense of that to you, and also to share the joy that is so close to my heart. And you will be hearing joys of the different animals of the North, as of the reindeer, of course, and of the people maybe that are not here in a physical form now, but you will get to know them as the reindeer herders and the people of the land where I come from. And I am also so looking forward to hear the stories of the different parts of the world coming together in this festival. And now I want to share a joy of one of my elders. His name was Nils Henrik, and he was a reindeer herder, and he loved his reindeers, and he said, "When the reindeers are fine, I am also good and fine." And he loved them so much, and he was a very responsible man, and he took care of all these important things, like keeping the fire burning and the coffee boiling and so on, and of course of his reindeers. And he was also like a child at heart. I remember him as an old man, but he had the spirit of a child, and he was very close to me. And this is his joy. So you will get to know him a little bit more. So this is Nils Henrik. Elon loa noa lelon loa, elon loa na le le lo, elon loa noa le le lo, elon loa noa lelon lo, elon na le lo lon na le lo lon I know hello lona le lo lona le lo lona I know hello lona le lo lona le lona I know hello lona le lo lona le la la I know elon loa noa le lon loa, elon loa noa le le lo. Wow 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 wow. Thank you so much for having me. This was Nils Henrik. So see you in the end of May at the Storytelling Festival in West Fulton in New York. I'm looking forward so much. Voinali.
The richness of story. And when she works, the earth cruises through you and flows and touches our insides, our outsides, our all sides. So thank you, Elin. And now I'm going to also share with you another amazing storytelling. And he comes to us he is a Haitian master drummer. His name is Bonga John Pastit. And he doesn't he doesn't have computers. He has a phone that you can't text him to. So some of our elders are going to be coming that are not plugging into that world out there, but they're still coming, and they're going to be bringing their magic with them. And so we wanted to show you, give you a little taste of him. So first, you're going to be coming to the waterfall house where this sacred waterfall lives. And he is a very dear friend of Bethany Yara, whose home we'll be going into. She caretakes this beautiful place and offers it constantly to everyone, and holds really strong and beautiful ceremony and prayer there. So her daughter is interviewing, she's a teenager, and she's interviewing Bonga as his daughter sits in his lap. And it's all about trees.
My name is Bonga Gaston Jean-Baptiste and Jackie Jean-Baptiste Jacqueline.
And where are you from?
I'm from Haiti.
And the first question is, how does cutting down the trees affect the environment and soil?
I have 2 trees in my yard. They call palmis tree. Sorry. The palmis tree is a tree represent Haiti. The palmis tree represent freedom, love, unity, harmony. The palmis tree represent life, because when you put it in the ground, it comes so big, so tall, and it's going to be there for a long time. And what it do to the ground is helping to filter the water.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put the palmis tree in your ground, and you dig next to it, not too far from it, your water come out.
My second question is, what was Haiti like when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, Haiti was a beautiful place. There was a lot of trees all over the place. And garden, sugarcane, plantain, and we used to feed the whole world, almost, Haiti with that soil, because that soil is very special, Haitian soil. And I used to go home, and I cannot go home anymore, because this soil is messed up. It's painful when you cut the tree down. You take life for a lot of things. No place for the bed to go. The bed cannot go anywhere. And you can have shade. Everything is dry. It's like a desert, and it was not like that in my growing up.
Why?
Religious purposes come to say what we do with the tree is evil. The tree have to come down. That's one of the reasons. When they said the tree have to come down, they come to people like me, come to my land and get my tree down. That tree I used to use for ceremonies for everybody. You cut it down you tell me that's evil, and I see you is evil.
The next question is, do you think the earthquake damage would be different if there were trees?
Oh, definitely. If it was tree, not too many people will die because this tree didn't fall down. If in the earthquake in Haiti, if you were the tree, you'll be safe. But if you're inside the building, you're not safe. You see how tree important? You're inside a building, for sure you have chance to die. It can collapse on you. You will be behind the tree is dancing with you in the earthquake. The tree not falling. Of course, if it was no more tree down there, it was not too many people who die. And that example is very clear. I don't live too far from Port-au-Prince. I didn't have too many people in my area dying. I have so many tragedies like Port-au-Prince. Because Port-au-Prince have no tree. Port-au-Prince have a building, house building. Where I am, I have some tree. Especially the traditional people who have little house with tree around. These people have no problem. Little house with a lot of tree around, no problem. But you cut the tree down, you got the big building, earthquake come now. What you gonna tell me? You safe with the building or you safe with the tree? Now you gotta choose. I hope things will flip different way. Not the way we doing it right now. The way we're doing it right now is not working. If you don't care about tree, nothing gonna work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
J'aime bien, pas j'aime ici, pas j'aime là-bas, j'aime là. J'aime bien, pas j'aime ici, pas j'aime là-bas, j'aime là. Docteur, sous elle dole, pas besoin de ou pas besoin de parler, mais je cherche. À la balim tabali, à la balim tabali, à la balim tabalim 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 tabali, tabali, à la balim tabali, à la balim tabali, à la balim tabalim 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 tabali. J'aime bien, pas j'aime ici, pas j'aime là-bas, j'aime là. J'aime bien, pas j'aime ici, pas j'aime là-bas, j'aime là.
Oh, and I'm going to tease you with his drumming because the drum comes alive. The spirit of this drum and the way it moves through him will enrich you, awaken you, open you, and make you strong. So I hope you will get to come. And if you can't come, that you will still join us and we can send the tape of these happenings so you can enjoy them in your own home. That's my prayer. So now I get to introduce Yeye, grandmother Luisah Teish. And grandma has some of the most amazing stories. And what's, I guess, I keep saying this and repeating myself, Luisah, because I'm struggling inside because I want to hear the whole story, not just a little taste of that story. So I just, we're just trying to do the best we can to give you dessert before dinner, I guess. Grandmother Luisah Teish, would you introduce yourself and bring us that story?
Well, I know that earlier Margine rolled a section where I have a recording of talking about the importance of story. Can we roll that? It's only a few minutes, and then I have a story to share with you.
Yes.
I think I said it succinctly there.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I don't know. My computer just freeze a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, I know the computers. There's a little clown inside of my computer who doesn't understand that I don't get the joke. I don't get the joke. It acts crazy at exactly the wrong time. Okay. Funire da olofi, funire da, funire da supa, funire da ile, funire da emi. Funireda. I ask for good fortune from the sun. I ask for good fortune from the moon. I ask for good fortune from the earth and good fortune from other human beings. On this day when we gather to remember the sacredness of story, let us each remember that it is a prayerful event that is the grandmother of the school, the church, and the theater. Let every sound that comes forth from our mouths go out into the universe and connect with kindred spirits and kindred stories so that we as a whole may be able to remember who we are. Funire da, funire da, funire da, funire da. Whoa. Yes, Bonga's point about the trees is so central and so sacred in African tradition, the traditions of our diaspora and our cosmology. And so he inspired me to read to you the story of one of our deities who lives in the forest. This is from my newest work, A Calabash of Cowries, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Times, and it's called Ochosi's Arrow. When we are in harmony with nature, everything seems to go our way. When things go wrong, we look for someone or something to blame besides ourselves. This is a story of self-sabotage. Ochosi was the finest, leanest young man you'd ever want to meet. Blood-filled veins ran just beneath the pecan-colored skin of his long, muscular arms and flowed into his nimble, slender fingers. When he rubbed his chest and belly with red palm oil, as hunters do, those muscles glistened even in the dark. His sculptured legs could sprint like a gazelle, yet he always walked carefully around the plants in the forest as to not to disturb the floor. He never made a sound. It was his nature to rise early in the morning, to gather his bows and arrows, and to anoint the tips of them with enough poison to paralyze anything they touched instantly. Always sure of his aim, he'd pull his bowstring and watch the arrows soar through the air to pierce the hearts of the wild birds, his favorite prey. Ochosi mounted his quiver of arrows, settled his bows along the crest of his shoulder blade, and headed for the door. He stopped to greet his mother, who sat in her rocking chair, listening to the coos and hums of his African gray parrot, his only pet. "Alafia, mother," he smiled as he kissed her on the forehead. "Alafia, my son," she responded. "Be careful in the forest this morning, son." He chuckled a bit. "Don't worry, Mom. The forest and I are friends, remember?" He kept walking. "The forest was your father's friend, too," she called after him, watching him disappear into the bush. Agbe remembered the days when she and her husband, Odede, the great hunter, had walked the forest together. They would come home with pigeons, geese, and guinea fowl, enough to feed the entire village. Now all she had left of him was a memory, his son and her blue apron. Ochosi stepped through the woods, being careful not to crush any plants, crack any twigs, or disturb any insect's nest. Then, a flutter in the bush, he placed an arrow in his bow and aimed at the thing that moved. That afternoon, he shot a duck, a hen, a fat goose, and a pigeon, and he brought them all home for his mother to cook. Just like every day, he gave a bit of grain to his only pet as he walked past his mother's house into the house. And just like every day when he left again, she called behind him, "Take care, son, take care." He smiled assuredly. "Everything is fine, Mom." And again he walked through the forest, crushing nothing, making no sound, and bringing great bounty home. One evening, at just about sunset, Ochosi decided to hunt. As he was about to step through the door, his mother pleaded, "Please, son, don't hunt in the dark." Ochosi simply kissed her on the forehead. As he scurried toward the door, his parrot called out, "Beware! Take care! Beware! Take care! Beware!" On that evening, when Ochosi entered the bush, a twig snapped and a plant cried beneath his feet. Before the always silent hunter could register the strangeness, before he could figure out what it was, something shiny rustled in the bush. Ochosi shot at it and to his shock, he missed it. That shiny something moved quickly between the trees. Ochosi followed it. Each time it moved, Ochosi followed it. And each time he shot at it, he missed. As night fell, the plants and the twigs progressed from wordless protests to outright screams. "Don't step on me! Don't step on me!" they cried. In more ways than one, Ochosi was lost. So he sat down at the foot of the iroko tree and tried to sleep. But still, something called out, "Ode mata! Ode mata! Hunter, don't kill me! Ode mata!" It echoed in his head as he tossed and turned, dreaming through an eternal night in the forests of forever. Finally, the sun rose, and Ochosi woke up. He could see his own tracks on the forest floor, marked by the crushed plants and broken twigs. They led him back to his mother's house. But when he arrived, he found her rocking chair empty and parrot feathers all over the floor. He raced through every room asking, "Where is my mother? Where is my parrot?" He ran through the house and into the backyard, where he found his mother sitting on a log with her head hanging down. "Mother, are you all right?" he asked. His voice startled her. She rose, blinked her eyes, and stared at him. "Oh, Chelsea, you're alive!" She moved toward him. "You've been gone so many nights, my son. I feared you were dead." He led her by the hand into the house. She moved slowly and seemed to have aged. Ochosi sat her down and kissed her on the forehead. With eyes lowered, he saw the feathers of his only pet scattered on the floor. "Where is my parrot?" The question filled the room. After a long silence, he answered himself. "A thief has stolen my bird." Agbe lowered her eyes and said, "Oh, yeah, something broke into the house while I was sleeping. Something was hungry and took your bird. I waited many nights for you," she said, almost apologetically, "but you never came." It outraged him that a thief had terrorized his mother and stolen his pet. So he picked up his bows and arrows and stomped through the forest, stepping on plants and twigs every time. Every time his feet hit the ground, he relished their cries. Ochosi dipped his arrow in the strongest poison he had and lifted it up to the sky. Then he commanded, "Let this arrow land in the heart of the one who killed my parrot. Ashe, 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 oh, make it so, make it so." Once he let that arrow go, it penetrated the canopy, and the forest screamed, "Ode mata! Ode mata! Hunter, don't kill me! Ode mata!" Having released his anger and trusting his arrow had found its mark, Ochosi walked back to his house calmly. But when he arrived, he found his mother sitting in her rocking chair with an arrow in her heart. She'd feared the forest had taken him, just as it had taken Odede, his father, and it was she who had been so hungry for her son and her husband, so she sacrificed his parrot to feed her grief. These stories can really get you in the gut, especially when they come up in a divination for your own life. Walk carefully in the forest and walk humbly on your spiritual path. Ochosi ailo da baba boale. When you come to the storytelling festival, you will have the opportunity to hear stories from several cultures, and you'll come to understand that there are universal themes that show up everywhere to give us life lessons and spiritual guidance. You will discover that there is no culture in the world that does not have stories, and you will be inspired to find them and learn them and live them and share them. I also want to take this opportunity for the people who feel alienated from their spiritual path or who feel like they need much more guidance. I want to invite you to enroll in my Elements of Ritual class, to go to my website and my link tree, and to participate in all the rituals that you will find there. Rituals to stop war, rituals to help the children of the world, rituals to increase prosperity, and to awaken the stories that are living in you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Yeye. And we have, I hope people are gonna let us go just a little bit over our time because we have an elder from Hawaii that I didn't get to introduce while ago, and maybe Lila, you can introduce him. And I'm sorry we don't have more time, but I'm glad that you are here. And Lila tells me we need to sit down and have longer conversations. But as a closing for our work today, is there some wisdom you would like to share or question that you would like to stir?
Yes, and our uncle here, my uncle, Kaliko Lehua Kanaele. Uncle, you need to unmute yourself.
There you go.
Yep. Well, aloha everybody. My name is Kaliko Lehua Kanaele. Born and raised on the Big Island of Hawaii. My story is all about the creation stories. We call ourselves, the four directional native Church of Native, and we acknowledge the four creation stories, the four quadrants, the four great gods and goddesses of a beautiful spaceship we have, and there's many stories that connect us all. Our gods, Rono Kaniku and Kanaloa, represent the red, the yellow, black, and the white. Everybody get different names for them, but we all believe the Almighties, and but they're family.
Sure.
And the goddesses also. So as we grow together, and for us, we go back to Maikapo Mamako, which from the doctors we come. And the darkness we talk about is the darkness behind the stars. There's two types of darknesses. We call Po and Poele. Later on down the road, they call them matter, antimatter, dark energy, dark matter, but there's no genealogy. So we go back to Po and Poele. When they touch, they meet all the stars. So every morning, a morning star comes up. There's a piece of the sun in the middle of Earth that created everything and everyone and make us relate to everything and everyone. And our story is when they first touched and the stars were forming and formed, they was wondering what was the responsibility and sacred obligations. And so they all got together and they said, well, let's go see the oldest star. So when they see the oldest star, and the oldest star said, well, last time I see the creator and the creatress, they told me I had to use a piece of my body. So he took out a piece of his body, put it out into empty space. We call Tikore Kore. And the first thing created, we call Iliahi, skin of fire. That's when you look at the natives, wherever you are, we have rock altars because that is our ancestor, first thing created from the piece of the sun. As it grew and expanded, more empty space created in there. That grew and expanded, and the empty space, water was created. Then as that grew and expanded, this water weed we call Limo Ele Ele was born, and we eat that to remind us what's first. Then this little black fish we call Oopo. Then shrimp we call Opai. And this mussel we call Ihibai. And those are the ancestors of everything in our quadrant of our ocean. The rest was brought here by the whale. So, usually I stop there because, as we grew and expanded and we come off from fresh water. And how I explain that is as we grew and expanded and finally our Earth Mother, Papa, created what we call mauna or mountains. And from those mountains, we all come from fresh water. Fresh water before ocean, trees and land before ocean. And that's why when everything came about with the ocean, a lot of the trees were guardians of what was in the ocean. And it was because of the rivers and how we took the leaves and the soil and it went down and it hit the creation line of the salt water and the fresh. It created what we call limu. And that fed the fish because food gotta come first. And then the rest of the things to eat, it comes. and each one has a tree, a shrub that protects it in that way. Because through the limu that they eat, and what the whale bring, they eat the fruit, on and on and on and on. And to us, that's how we all created that way. Our mountains don't create lions and tigers and different things like that. So, or prawns or things like that. So we recognize other people's creation stories because they're all true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're all true, and but we're all family. And we all get given responsibilities and certain obligations to take care of what was given to us to take care of.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes we have to draw, of course, from the other creation stories to keep what we have going. And we try to explain to the other creation stories when they come and try, shove it down our throat. We believe in yours, but you believe in ours, the kind of thing. Yeah. But I'll stop there, and we love our earth, our beautiful spaceship, living God, I call it, the living goddess, and all the gifts that they've given us, clean air, clean water, clean land, clean ocean, clean us.
Mm-hmm.
And just we protect and defend. And I tell my people the same thing. We also fight the occupation. But I say, if we fight for the things the living God and God gave us, then everything will come. But first, we have to do those things for everybody because it doesn't only affect us; it affects everybody. Clean air, clean water, clean air. It become uninhabitable. We have to go to Mars or something and create some artificial thing there. But
Thank you.
I'm glad that you have this forum.
Thank you. And the Mother Earth delegation, what's popping up inside of me every third Saturday, it comes on and they share songs, prayers, whatever kind of is coming forward that will be a wisdom to help us know how to walk through these times, to pull from that wisdom of their peoples in that way. Maybe you could join us one of those. I know Lila knows how to keep in contact with you, so I'll connect with her and we'll just see if we can do another weaving at another moment. Okay?
Yeah.
I'd like that so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom.
You're welcome, Jyoti.
Thank you so much. And now thank you all for joining us. I think Margine is going to put over here the link to where you can come join us in person. And I just want to make it clear because I saw one of the some information in the chat. This will not be we will not be live streaming the storytelling festival. We're going to take videos and we'll be sending them to you of the storytellers, so that you can partake in that part of the medicine that will be presented there. But if you can join us in live, bring your families, bring your kids. Let's all sit down as a family, a global family, unifying ourselves and our opening our hearts. And with that, Luisah, Yeye is going to close us with a sacred song, and may you take it into your sleep if you're about at that place to sleep, and may you wake with brightness if you're at another time of day where the sun has moved and the moon is out. Blessings to you all. Thank you, all of my storytellers, for gathering in this way and for all that you do and what you hold for all of us. You truly are carrying the medicine for our times. I hope we will listen.
I want to say that years ago, when I had a Nigerian family living in my house, we would gather and tell stories, and then the elders would stand up and say, "Odabo," and walk out, right? And I thought, oh, what on earth does that mean? Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh. It means I may be walking out, but I am not leaving you. I am not leaving you. Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh, Odabo, oh.
Blessings to you all as you fly in the four directions. Blessings to you, your families, and that sacred land you sit on. Thank you.